welcome to episode 7 of Create This Book by Mariah Elizabeth and Ashleigh Monet. That would be me. I'm super excited for this episode. We've got some good prompts. 4 prompts this week to be exact. On a side note, I will be moving my posting days for Create This Book over to Wednesdays. I know I'm probably giving you guys whiplash, like, one day it's Tuesday, one day it's Saturday, one day it's Friday, one day it's Sunday. Like, I'm sorry. I really want to stick with Wednesdays. There's a couple reasons for that. I recently had a schedule change with my son. Normally Thursdays and Fridays were wide open and now they are like my busiest days. And because of that, with me posting on Friday, it's like the editing comes right before that. And if I'm super busy, I've been falling behind on the editing end. At this point, it makes more sense for me to edit Mondays and Tuesdays and then post on Wednesday. And the second reason is because it's hump day. It's right in the middle of the week. Everybody's kind of in that slump. It seems like the majority of art YouTubers tend to post on Friday, and then it's like you have nothing going on for the whole week. So I'm hoping by posting on Wednesday, it gives everybody like a little something to look forward to midweek. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Either way, we're moving to Wednesdays, which means if I am gonna release a bonus video, it'll probably be uploaded on a Friday or Saturday. I just wanted to put that out there, but that is enough of me talking. Let's jump right in and see what I can create. For our first prompt this week, we have create a page of stripes. Draw stripes on this page. If I sound really bad, I'm actually coming off of a cold right now. I'm fighting the battle. I'm winning. We're almost over the edge, but I had to do this voiceover today, so sorry if it sounds funky. Now, I wanted to do black and white stripes, but unfortunately the white wasn't going to stand out against the background, so I did kind of like a gray vignette in an attempt to give it some way to stand out. And I really regret not actually measuring out these lines. I don't know why I trusted myself to do straight, perfectly spaced lines. I mean, they could have been worse, so I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Then I decided to do this dull lime green splat right in the center. I would think maybe from looking at this, you might be able to tell where I'm going with this page, what my theme might be. First, I want to add a little font to this splat. I myself am strange and unusual. Okay, if that's not a dead giveaway, then you clearly don't know. I have chosen to base this page off of the King of Stripes, the ghost with the most, the man himself, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Although I wanted to put a spin on it. You know I do that. I thought it would be super fun to do a little gender bender on Beetlejuice and make a lovely lady Beetlejuice. Let's start with the line work. I have her doing that classic Beetlejuice pose on top of the tombstone. You know it, you know it. I am such a huge fan of Beetlejuice. I'm a little hesitant about this sequel that they've been teasing forever and a year. I hope they do it justice. Now that the line work's all done, let's make these stripes happen. It's interesting, there are clearly so many ways I could have gone with stripes, and yet my mind went straight to Beetlejuice. And realistically, like out in the streets or on TV, if I see anybody wearing black and white stripes, all I think, Beetlejuice. No lie, at this point, I hadn't even considered my background and I was kind of freaking out a little bit. Like I knew I wanted to do grass, but hadn't thought about what was going to happen behind that. So I kind of just skipped that part and was like, okay, let's work a little bit more on this lady Beetlejuice while I think of what I'm going to do. Note to self, always plan ahead. Things get kind of stressful when you're coming up with it at the last minute. I settled on this like real deep purple for the background. I don't know why. I think I remember in the Beetlejuice cartoons, they used purple backgrounds a lot. And it was a really strong contrast to the green of the grass and the splats and Beetlejuice's hair, all that. All right, y'all know I like to take it to the next level with some colored pencil. That's what I'm talking about. Sign and date, and glue her in the book. I love this one so much. I think it was so much fun to take someone as iconic as Beetlejuice and put a gender swap on him. She's gorgeous. I want to be that girl. This one was super, super fun. On to the next prompt, we have create a signature. Use the lines below to practice your signature. Try to include some variation. Star the one you think is best. And we have approximately 13 lines here that we get to sign on. So it was pretty clear to me that this was going to be one of the less like artistic prompts. There's really no room on the page for anything except the signatures. So color and font style are really the only ways to do this upright and make it interesting. But I did have a thought, something to make it a little more exciting. It's pretty well known. I mean, I've never even been to Disney, and I know that each character has a unique autograph that they have to sign if you meet them. I thought it would be fun to take some of those unique autographs and write my name in that same style. And as I write each one, I want you guys to see if you can guess who the character is. Now, for aesthetic reasons, I chose to do these in rainbow order. They're not in like ascending order of who my favorite characters are. And honestly, some of these aren't even my favorite characters. They just, to me, had the most interesting signatures. So this first one, we're going in with green. And it's basically just a bunch of soft kind of uppercase letters with two little stars, one on each end. Who do you think it is? The answer, it is Peter Pan. The next is going in with a darker green, also strictly caps, but most of these letters have some sort of jagged edge, almost as if they're carved into a tree. Any thoughts on whose signature we're copying? It's Pocahontas. Now this one might be a little easier. We've got this super fancy little script. I don't know what those little things are called in calligraphy where you do like the little swirlies with the lines through them. But there's that happening there too. And then there's bubbles on either side. Any thoughts? It's Ariel. Next up is a very light blue, another fancy script font. And on either side we have these little snowflake-esque stars. Dead giveaway. This one is Elsa. The next one, using dark blue, it is a very wild, one can only describe as like chicken scratch type font. It's out of this world. It's almost inhuman. You guessed it, it's Stitch. This next one, I used a light purple. It's this sweet kind of flattened cursive font with a little daisy for the dot of the I. Any thoughts? That one was pretty obvious. It's Daisy Duck. Starting with pink, this one's pretty similar to the last, just a little sweet cursive font, although this time the dot of the I is a heart instead of a daisy. Any guesses? This is the signature for Minnie Mouse. And following right after, we've got red. Now this is like that classic Disney font. That one was a tough one to copy. I had to get a reference for it. But this signature belongs to no other than Minnie's other half, Mickey Mouse. Next up, I'm using a red-orange, and this script style is very Celtic, looks very similar, and of course has a little arrow detail underneath. Any thoughts on what this one is? It's kind of a gimme. Yep, it's Merida. Okay, I'd be surprised if anybody gets this next one, but I'm using orange, and the style of font is very, very obscure. I think it's supposed to resemble some kind of African tribal, but this is the autograph style of Rafiki from The Lion King. Next up, I'm using a yellow-orange, and these are all capitals, but they are definitely wonky, very tilty, very whimsical, and the O is a paw print. Who's this one? It's Pluto. Second to last, we're doing a golden yellow. And with this one, you've got some uppercase, you've got some lowercase. They are all very like curvy letters with a few points that overlap. It looks very childlike. This autograph style is taken directly from Winnie the Pooh. And the very last one, and this one is going to be so hard to see because it's yellow on a white background. I'm sorry, I did what I could. But it is an over-the-top script font with many, many of those little twisty twirlies at the bottom. This signature belongs to none other than Belle. I didn't end up doing a lot of the Disney princesses. I feel like a lot of them had very similar signatures, which is just like script font. Nothing special about it. And like I said, I really wanted to do the most interesting signatures on this page. Now, I ended up struggling with this header font. I don't know why I completely overthought it, but I went ahead and did a little rainbow gradient on the word signature, trying to reincorporate all of those colors I used in the signatures below. Then I went through to try and make each one pop a little more and just did a little light scribbling of that same color in the background. The page was just feeling so white to me. I can't stand that. I like it to be a full page of color, but again, I knew going into this one that it was very unlikely that this was going to look like a full finished art piece. It was just going to be a bunch of signatures. So at this point, I was happy with the signatures, but this header was just not doing it for me. It felt unbalanced having the rainbow scrunched up on this one half. Like I should have spread it out across the entire prompt header so each color had a wider space to cover. I was fighting these thoughts, but the intrusive thoughts won, and I ended up scrapping the rainbow, covering the whole thing in black and rewriting it in white. Guys, I thought I would be happy with that, but apparently didn't learn my lesson, and it still looks so unbalanced only having this thick black on the one side. Let's tweak it again, and so help me, I better like it this time. Went ahead and covered Create a with the black, went through and wrote it again in white, and believe it or not, I was happy this time. Hallelujah. With that, this page was finished. I think it was a really fun idea. I enjoyed getting to tweak each signature. I am now just realizing that the instructions said to star the one that's my favorite, and I didn't. I would say that my personal favorite is Daisy Duck, and maybe Pluto too. I'd say those are my top two. Don't know why. I just think they're cute. But again, had fun with this one, and now we can move on. The third prompt of the week, create art with wax. Decorate this page using only wax, candle wax, crayons, etc. Oh my God, my voice is sounding so bad. It's getting worse as we go. So I decided that for this prompt, no matter what, I was just going to color the whole thing in crayons. You all know how I feel about crayons. I hate crayons, can't stand crayons, but the prompt is to use wax. That's what I can think of. I was still going to outline using a regular liner though. I want to give this piece a shot at looking halfway decent. I started with a little tombstone and wrote "Rest in Peace" on it. Now this might be a hint at what's coming. I did the piece in that very hippie-esque vibe because I thought the best thing I can do with crayons was to draw a tie-dye. Tie-dye is kind of hard to color on its own, but with crayons being the way that they are, it kind of works. Don't get me wrong, that wrist was cramping up on me. I hate crayons so much for that reason. This entire piece really took it out of me. But I think it ended up coming out pretty good, considering crayons are garbage. Anyway, slowly but surely, we had to keep going over colors again and again and again, but we got a nice rainbow tie-dye that I'm happy with. And then it came time to color in the tombstone. To be honest, I think that rough crayon texture actually helped here, made it look a little bit more like stone, a little crumbly, gritty. And if you hadn't kind of picked up the hints that this piece is dropping for what's coming next, well, I'll tell you. Zombie hippie. Once I had decided I wanted to do tie-dye, it was kind of a no-brainer that I was going to draw a hippie. But of course, since I'm me, I have to creepify it, and I thought it would be so cute to do a little hippie zombie. Once again, I did the line work with a regular liner. I want to make sure that the image is very readable, but I will be coloring her completely using crayons as well. I'm continuing that tie-dye thing on this side, although instead of doing the spiral tie-dye, I'm keeping it straight lines on this side, except on her shirt. I'm also going to do a little spiral tie-dye happening on her shirt. Once I had the whole rainbow laid out, that's when I kind of got to go in and pick unique colors for little aspects of the drawing. That one was kind of hard because it's like you don't want anything to compete with the rainbow, yet all of the colors are in the rainbow, so you don't really want it to blend either. It was tricky, but it was a lot of fun. I ended up making her kind of a dirty blonde. We're going to do some bell bottoms here. And I ended up doing the background by those daisies yellow. I don't keep it that way. I end up turning it into the rainbow to match the top. And I really struggled with deciding what color I was going to do that VW bus. Because again, all of the colors are accounted for in the rainbow. I didn't want it to like blend into the background. I wanted it to stand out. I ended up settling on a lime green. I think that was a good happy medium. It doesn't clash, but it doesn't blend. It's its own piece now. Working a bit on all the chrome details of the bus. And here's where I go and fix her flares. Cute, cute, cute. Sign and date. And now into the book. Gonna go ahead and zhuzh up that prompt with a little tie-dye rainbow. Keep that theme going. Once I had that looking the way I wanted to, just glue her in. Ah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. I will say though, because I'm always so picky, I can't imagine how much better it would look if I had been able to use something other than crayons to color it in. I feel like I did the best I could with what I was given. Crayons are a terrible medium to use, but man, I sure love the way this came out. And with that, we are on to our fourth and final prompt of the week, create a pocket. Apply glue inside the dotted lines on page 57. Be careful not to glue the top. Close the book and allow the glue to dry. Store something in the pocket that's created between the two pages. Okay, so here's that next page, and if I glue it on the side and bottom the way it says, the edges will be sealed and it'll create a pocket up top like this. I don't want that. I'd rather have my pocket on the front of the page. So instead, I'm just going to disregard the gluing instructions and cut this second page out and turn it into my pocket. Let me just slip my little cutting mat behind here and take my X-Acto. Let me say this was easier said than done. I was so afraid I was going to slip off the cutting mat and cut some of the pages behind this one. I did manage to get it out just fine eventually. And now that I have it out, I just cut it into a pocket. Now for the actual page, let's start with taping off the edges. I want to paint this side black. Now I debated leaving the prompt words create a pocket untouched, but I felt like it just stood out too much. I decided to cover the whole thing and just rewrite create a pocket myself. Now I want this page to be somewhat nostalgic. So immediately I thought, what kind of pocket do I want to do? Well, I want to do jeans pockets. And what type of jeans were like the hottest thing back in my heyday, late 90s? Mud jeans. So using acrylic paint, I kind of laid down the base, made sure to get the belt loops in there, and then of course added the jean tag. Pulled up the tape, and that's when I was able to focus on this font, which was not easy, mind you. But I decided to write create a pocket in that same little like weathered typeface font that Mud uses. And then finally I got to add it to the leather jeans tag. And now with the base of the jeans looking on point, it's time to bring in that pocket. Bam! It looks so good. Of course, I had to do the little handprint that was signature to Mud jeans. I'm so happy with it. And now it opens right along the top. We have our pocket. Now what to put in the pocket? Like I said, this piece was going to bring back some nostalgia. Anybody who was anybody in the late 90s had one thing in their pocket, and that was a Tamagotchi. Now, anyone who's unfamiliar, Tamagotchis were these little electronic pets. I think they even called them like gigapets or nanopets at one point, but like Tamagotchi is what we all knew them as. But you had what, like 3 buttons to like feed them, exercise them, put them to bed, whatever. You're taking care of this little virtual pet, and no lie, these things would die if you didn't take care of them. There was so much pressure put on taking care of this little fake pet. So you carried them with you everywhere to make sure that they were fed on time, so on and so forth. I think that this truly was the start of like kids being hooked on electronics and needing them with them all the time. Anyways, one of the fun things about them was that they had all these super cool designs on them. So for this one, I opted to go with this little like ice cream cone design. It's super cute. I truly, for the life of me, can't even remember what mine looked like, the ones that I did have. But if I could buy one today, this would be the one. Juicy highlight time. Here it is. Now let's slip it in our pocket. Oh my gosh, I love it. Look at that. Okay, so for this page, I bet you can guess what we're going to do. We're just going to take that cute little ice cream cone print and slap it right on this other page. Easy peasy. Or so I thought. As it turns out, I made a fatal error. I decided to paint this page with acrylic. Meanwhile, the Tamagotchi that I made was colored using my alcohol markers. And I tried to mix the colors to be as identical as possible, but they actually do not match. And because I'm me, later on, I end up having to redo a few things because I'm me. Why can't I just like accept things when they're not 100% perfect? Just take it and move on. But anyways, here I've just got these little ice cream drips. And at this point is when I pull out the Tamagotchi and realize they do not match in the slightest. I tried to use some colored pencil to kind of tweak this pink and make it look right. Honestly, the purples were okay with me. I didn't have a problem with those. It was just that pink that I was like, nope, that's not right. Anyways, even the colored pencils couldn't save it. So then I decided I had to go in on the Tamagotchi and cover up the pink marker then with the pink acrylic so that it would for sure match. Why do I torture myself? You know what though? It ended up being a blessing in disguise because it was at this point that I realized I forgot to add the sprinkles that are on the actual Tamagotchi I was inspired by. So I went ahead and added those in with my juicy highlight pen. And once they're down, I can go over them with marker to give them some color. And then that made me realize I needed sprinkles on my page as well. So I went ahead and added those using the Posca this time since it's nice and thick. Much easier than my little juicy highlight pen. And add the colors to those. Highlight those ice cream drips a little bit more. And every sprinkle got its own little highlight. And now we can say it is finished. Really happy that I went in and made the changes because they match perfectly now. I also laminated the little Tamagotchi with some packing tape, so hopefully that'll last a lifetime of being pulled in and out of this pocket. I love this one so, so much. It really is a throwback to happier times, chilling in my black wash mud jeans with a Tamagotchi in the pocket. The print is so stinking fun on this. Like, I can't say there's anything I don't like about it. It turned out exactly like I wanted it to. Very, very happy with this one. Man, it was just a rockin' week, wasn't it? Let's go ahead and do our recap. We created a page of stripes featuring the ghost with the most, the king of the stripes, Beetlejuice, only she Beetlejuice. I love the spin I put on this. I love how it came out. Super happy with it. We created a signature, rather 13 signatures. We copied some of the most unique signatures you might come across at Disney. So many styles, so many colors represented here. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a pretty cool little spin on just 13 signatures. We created art with wax, decorating this page solely using crayons, my nemesis, the bane of my existence. It's hippie vibes, it's tie-dye vibes, it's zombie vibes. So amazing, all put together. Super happy with this one. And lastly, we created a pocket. A total throwback to the late 90s. These black wash mud jeans with the handprint. And a Tamagotchi shoved in the pocket and then carried over that dessert design onto the other page. It is just amazing. I'm super happy with this one. This might be my favorite of the week. This was a great week, minus me getting sick, of course. But like I said, I'm getting better. I'm hoping by the next video I'll be right as rain. But thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.